Hello, kindergartners and first graders. It's Mrs. Albertini. I'm sending you this message at my house, which is very different from being at school. And I know we've talked a lot lately about courage. And one of the things I think we're all working on is being flexible and having the courage to try something new. And since we can't be at school together, we're going to continue having our lessons here on the computer, which I know is very different. But I want to thank you for your flexibility and for joining me because I'm so happy to be with you and I can't wait to see all of you again soon. One of the things that I wanted to talk to you about today is there's a saying called, when life hands you lemons, make lemonade. And that means when things happen that maybe aren't the best, or things that maybe you're not very happy about or you were a little disappointed in, that's the lemon part. That's kind of the sour part. And what we can do when that happens is, well, actually, we have a choice of what we can do. We can either choose to think negatively and think, oh, this isn't good, and I don't think this is going to be great, and I don't like this. Or we can choose to make lemonade, which means make it sweet. And sometimes that takes a lot of courage and hard work. Sometimes that takes us really thinking about what we can do to make a situation that maybe isn't so good better. So one of the things I was thinking of is that we have to be at our houses for a while. And I'm sure all of you are spending a lot of time at your home. And I'm trying to think of what I could do at my house to kind of make the time seem a little bit more sweet. And one of the ways is I get to spend time with you doing these fun lessons together. But another thing I was thinking of is we get to be creative. And even though I know you're going to be spending some time doing schoolwork and hopefully you're spending some really fun time with your family, you get to have time to be creative and think about things that maybe you wouldn't have thought about before. So one of the things I wanted to do was read you one of my favorite books by one of my favorite authors. His name is Chris Van Dusen, and he's actually a Maine children's book author, and I bet you have read some of his books before. One of my favorite books is If I Built a House. And one of the things I was thinking we could do is read this book together, and then I thought it would be fun for you to go off and maybe find a piece of paper and a pencil or a crayon or anything you have to write with, and maybe draw a picture of what you think your house could turn into. I know I'm already thinking of some things that I'd like to have in my house. But maybe after we read this book together, you'll think of some other thoughts, and then we'll be able to have some creative time together. Oh, and by the way, Gerald the giraffe is here, and he is thinking of a really cool idea for his house. So you'll see him at the end. So If I Built a House by Chris Van Dusen. Jack in the backyard said to his mother, "This house is okay, but it's like any other. It's boxy and boring and basically bland. It's nothing at all like the house I have planned. My house will be different. It can't be the norm. I'll think about traffic flow, function, and form. Oh, it may include shapes like a tower or dome, but I'll focus on what makes a building a home. It's the rooms on the inside that make it unique. So step through the door and let's take a peek. We'll start with the basics right off the bat. Check out my all-in-one Kitchen-O-Mat. You don't have to cook and you don't have to clean. It's done by a space-age robotic machine. It makes all the meals and the food is delish. Then it washes and puts away every last dish. I'd like that in my house. Sometimes we get a lot of dishes. The living room's next. It's fun. Come on in. The chairs and the table and sofa all spin. And trampolines lead to a giant ball pit. It's a pretty neat room, you have to admit. That looks like a pretty fun room. I might want one of those in my house. Seems like he's having a lot of fun jumping into this ball pit right here. Now, look in the bathroom. No shower, no tub. Instead, take a ride on my Scrub-a-Dub-Dub. Just step on the belt and it washes you clean, even the places that you've never seen. I wonder what he's thinking in this picture. I was trying to figure out what feeling that might be. Maybe a little bit surprised. And here is my bedroom, way up in the sky on top of a tower 200 feet high. With glasses all around, just check out the view. And a bed in a tower? Now that's something new. I wonder if you'd like to sleep all the way up in that tower in his house. The rooms we walked through just moments before are the kinds that you'll find in any decor. But if I built a house, I'd add a few more. So hop on the slide, it's time to explore. I was wondering how he got down from that big room. A slide all the way down, that looks like fun. You know how I constantly like to create? Oh, that's what we're talking about, being creative. Well, this is my art room. Isn't it great? You draw on the wall. Don't worry, it's cool. Hung way up high on a big giant spool is a huge roll of paper that hangs to the floor. Just draw till you're done, then pull down some more. Wow. He's thinking about a lot of cool things in those drawings, isn't he? Next comes my flying room. See how it's tall? It's empty except for a switch on the wall. Just turn off the switch and you'll float off the ground, then flap like a bird and fly all around. Isn't it nice to be up in the air? A room without gravity. That's pretty rare. I think I might have to have courage to be in that room to fly around like that. This is my racetrack room. Step right inside. It's less like a room and more like a ride. It features a racetrack that loops all around with super fast go-karts that don't make a sound. You fly and you flip and you zip and you zoom. You have to admit, it's a wonderful room. That does look like a pretty fun room to be in. I'm also glad they're wearing helmets to be safe. I can think of some of you that would probably love to have a room like this. Ooh, a room filled with water. Now that's something new. But if I built a house, that's just what I'd do. This is my fish tank room. Ain't it a sight? Don't worry, they're friendly. The critters won't bite. Just strap on an air mask to swim with the fishes. Now this is a room that every kid wishes. Does seem like a pretty neat room to explore. To be underwater with all those cool creatures. Of course, I've been saving the best room for last, and literally speaking, this room is a blast. So welcome, sit down. I'll seal up the hatches. This plexiglass playroom completely detaches. You fly it around. Why, it even has jets. For me, this room is as good as it gets. So a room that you could take off and fly all around and go explore. That does seem like fun. My house will be nifty. My house will be neat. My house will stand out as the best on the street. Daringly bold, yet exquisitely fine. A must-see example of modern design. My house will be hailed as refreshingly new. If I built a house, that's just what I'd do. So I want you to think about what kind of house you would build. Especially now since we're having to spend some time in our houses. If we wanted to kind of create a house where there are lots of different things to do and explore, what would your house look like? So find something to write with, find something to color with, see how creative you can be with your house. And the other thing you could do is talk with your family and see what kind of house they would make. See if you have parents or brothers or sisters that might want to join in the fun and see what they would come up with too. And then after you're done, you can talk about it with someone. And maybe even when we see each other again, you can tell me about some of the fun rooms that you created in your house. Let's hear from Gerald. I'm curious about his house, what he would create. I had to wake him up from his nap. He ate a lot of spaghetti and meatballs for lunch, so he was kind of tired after that. All right, can everyone say hi to Gerald?
Well, hi everybody. It's so nice to see you. I wish I could be with you, but this is also pretty fun too.
Gerald, we were just talking about how we were creating some pretty cool houses and that we're going to be creative and try to come up with some neat houses to draw. What would you make your house? So what would be some of the rooms that you'd have in your house?
Well, that's a good question. Oh, I know. I'd have a giant room full of meatballs. Oh, and I'd also have a room full of spaghetti. Oh, I know. I'd want a pool full of spaghetti so I could swim through it. That would be so much fun.
That would be fun, Gerald. That's a good imagination. Gerald and I are going to keep thinking about some of the things that we would put in our room, and I want you to do the same thing. And I'm going to see you soon. I'm going to have some other lessons for you and probably even some bedtime stories if you want to hear some bedtime stories. Some of the stories that my kids love to hear at nighttime. So maybe I'll share those with you as well. And Gerald and I hope that you're doing really well, and we can't wait to see you soon. And I'm sending all of you a giant hug right now.
Oh, me too, me too. I love hugs. I'm going to sing the ending song.
Oh, that's a great idea, Gerald. Go ahead.
Goodbye, goodbye, we are done. We have learned and had some fun. Let's be happy, safe, and kind until we meet another time. Remember to like who you are. We are all bright, shining meatballs.
And stars. He's so silly. All right, I will see you all soon.